That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
As it re-entered, it was like a fireball. Nobody else in the world except our helicopter was seeing it. The astronauts should be able to get back to the world safely, and that was our part of it.
Very few people knew about the recovery of Apollo 11 and how complex it was. Every second counted.
We didn't want to screw up because the world's watching.
How can we get to the capsule in a timely manner?
How many things could go wrong?
There was a pressure that built up. Where it was released was right here.
My name is John McLaughlin. I was in Underwater Demolition Team 12, and I was on the Apollo 8 and the Apollo 11 recovery of the astronauts.
Ever since I can remember, I was attracted to the water. I knew that's what I wanted to be, a Navy frogman.
Well, I was a sophomore in college, and my father sat me down at the dining room table, and I was thinking, uh-oh, what have I done? And so he says, how do you intend to satisfy your military obligation? I signed up for Underwater Demolition Team.
I'm Marie Jewett, and I'm Stephen Philip Jewett's wife. Someone had told him about the UDT program and how they were always looking for strong swimmers, and he loved the water, lived right there on the beach.
If you do your research back in the 70s and 80s, you hear about this thing called BUDS, Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL Training. It is touted as the toughest military training ever devised. See if you have what it takes, see how tough you are, and also at the same time, serve your country.
They had just barely completed their UDT training. They didn't have time to take a breath before they were shipped out to Vietnam.
I have asked for this television time tonight to report to you on our most difficult and urgent problem, the war in Vietnam.
Whenever he talked about his service, he knew it was his duty.
When I first got to the SEAL teams in the late 90s, we're over 20 years removed from Vietnam. But you go into that having read all these stories because it was such a watershed moment in special operations history generally, and then specifically for SEALs.
The ship had just returned from Vietnam, and the UDT guys had just returned from Vietnam.
Apollo 11 was a bit different.
From the jungles in the Mekong Delta to being 2 months later on worldwide TV with 500 million people watching him.
So that was a bit of pressure, if you will.
The recovery had to go off perfectly. I mean, not just the quarantine issue, the decontamination issue, but I mean, no one had ever done that before.
There were so many things that could go wrong. I mean, obviously the whole mission, there were a million things that could have gone wrong, but our part of it, we didn't want to screw up because the world's watching.
While they were in space, we were doing rehearsal after rehearsal after rehearsal.
We would do recoveries on calm seas and on high seas and at day and at night, because if the mission were aborted, it would have re-entered at night. When the helo, when they get low, the rotor wash creates a lot of movement in the water. That attracts sharks. I remember one night we jumped at the right time, but we were in the middle of 50 or more sharks, and there was nothing to do except swim to get to the command module, to get to the caller and get up on that. So that was pretty exciting.
We were so highly trained, we were not nervous. We knew exactly what to do and how to do it.
It's very, very important that the timing be absolutely perfect. There's just so many things going on with the recovery helicopters and the Air Morse, the communications airplane, and the Arlington over there, and the Hornet here, and the President coming over. So many different commands, if you will. So everybody had to be in communications with everybody else and know exactly, okay, we have 5 minutes to complete this. The glue that held the flight plan together was timing and synchronization.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. For every American, this has to be the proudest day of our lives. For one priceless moment, all the people on this earth are truly one. One in their pride in what you have done. And one in our prayers that you will return safely to Earth.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All of us look forward to seeing you on the Hornet on Thursday.
Look forward to that very much, sir.
Nixon, he was just flowing along with the whole thing. He was one with the process. He wasn't thinking anything else other than, I hope they lived. Yes, they lived. I hope when they get down safely. And he watched the whole thing from up in the bridge. The binoculars watched the helicopters going out. There was some major thunderstorm activity in the original primary landing area. So NASA moved it 240 miles northeast toward Hawaii.
The ship sped through the night to make it to the new splashdown site.
I remember looking up at the sky, and on the horizon, I could see the fireball of the command module coming back into the world. Not very many people in the world were able to watch that.
It looked like a comet burning through the atmosphere. It was amazing. It was just thrilling. We saw it up in the sky, descending on parachutes, 3 parachutes. The spacecraft had landed in the upside down position, but the spacecraft has these bladders that inflate slowly, and eventually it causes the spacecraft to right itself.
And the first guy who dropped into the water attached a sea anchor, which is nothing more than a parachute, to the command module.
Plug it in, deploy the drogue parachute, the purpose of which is to slow the capsule down.
Then the other 2 UDT divers jumped in the water, and they started putting a rubber flotation collar around the capsule to stabilize it. They then inflated several rafts and attached them to the collar.
The Navy, in its wisdom, said, okay, you guys, you gotta wear these huge 90 cubic foot steel scuba tanks, which weighed a ton. So we had those on our back, our parachute on the back of that, a reserve parachute in the front, all our other gear, including our fins, our masks, diving gear, watch, the whole damn thing on us.
Once we were out of training, you'd go to the supply and they would issue all the things that you needed.
We were issued fins, a life jacket, a K-bar, which is a knife. We were given a Tudor watch.
And so that was issued to us right at the time we joined the team.
And it was just part of the equipment. You know, it's like, here, take this, here.
It was treated like every other important piece of equipment you had. You could have the best planning in the world, the best execution in the world, but if you don't have the right equipment to back you up, it's going to be a failure. Your watch is critical, you know, and say, okay, we all check times, watches, that's why we all issued watches.
I wore that watch the whole time I was in the military. Didn't take it off, showered with that on. If you were down in the water and it was dark, the dial was luminescent, so you could tell what time it was. And it has a bezel, so you could time yourself if you needed to.
I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to think about it. So it was the reliability and the durability, because I believe we put it to some pretty good tests.
That watch had gone through a lot. It had survived a lot.
The Tudors, they're really artifacts that have been through it, and every scratch tells a story on here, and I'll add a few to scratches over the years that will add to that story. This Tudor was made before I was born, so for me it really is a representation of history and a life well lived.
We had no idea the significance of Tudor. They relied on their watches for everything, their illuminated dials and how many kicks per second, you know, to where they were going, whether they were underwater or whether they were on land. I love to hold it because I remember spotting it the day I met him. He was so proud of this watch.
I can still see his arm in it. Like I can see the way it looks on his wrist.
He treasured it, and he he always wore it. It, to me, is a testament to everything that they all went through.
Yeah, to the SEALs of my generation, those SEALs from the Vietnam era were legends. And so you have these group of SEALs in the jungle with Stoner 63s, search and destroy missions. Then you have another group of SEALs with the same background, the same training, the same mindset, who have a completely different mission, who are risking their own lives to save others, to save astronauts that the whole world is watching.
To me, Apollo 11, it was a unifying thing. For at least one moment, everybody came together and said, what an amazing thing, what an amazing accomplishment. We as humans can be proud of it, not just Americans, but humans. I was so inspired, and America was so inspired.
You know, it felt like the job got done. The mission was accomplished, and that was very satisfying.
I mean, no matter where they were serving, these guys, they knew how to think on their feet and get the job done. No matter what it was, they were going to get the job done, and they worked as a team.
That's what I think all of us take most pride in. We all did the same thing. We became teammates for life.